all of you beautiful people. I am back with another Sincerely Sabrina podcast episode. It is Monday, February 13th, Galentine's Day, I think, which is perfect because I have red on. I'm feeling very Y2K today. I got my little felt feeling zip up with a little claw clip in my hair, and we're doing it. We're at a different angle today, for those of you guys watching on YouTube, but for those of you guys who are in the car on the way to work, on the way home from work, if you're listening to me in your AirPods at the gym or cleaning your house or whatever, we're on a new microphone today. So if it also sounds different, that is why. But hopefully it's a good different. How is everybody starting in February? I'm 25 now. Hopefully you guys knew that already by listening to my previous podcast episode. But if you didn't, go ahead and take a listen now and then come back to this episode. But let's just get into it. Today's topic is going to be how to avoid burnout. And this is an episode really catered to those who are serial entrepreneurs like myself. If you're, in med school, farm school, nursing school, some kind of higher education in the healthcare field, or if you're just, multi-passionate about things and you have a lot going on, this episode is for you. So just a little backstory about myself, I guess, or a little context, if you will. I work part-time as a pharmacy intern because pharmacy school takes up a lot of time as a full-time student. And I've been in pharmacy school for about 3 years now. I own my own custom t-shirt business. I've done that for about a little over 2 years now, and I've been in affiliate marketing for a year coming the end of this month. Go me. And I recently started becoming more present on social media and making it another form of income. So that's exciting. I feel like nowadays, after the pandemic, we are all in this era of multiple streams of income, and I think that's amazing. So if you want another episode on how to get started on building different streams of income, it is coming. Don't you worry. So basically, if you know me, I'm all about making that extra money. And with all of these things in my life, I think it's super important for me to mentally prepare myself for the start, the hardships, the journeys, and the end result of all of these things that I'm trying to achieve. Now, in order to do all of these wonderful things and show positive progress, I've had to tough it out and, really figure out if I have the true grit and what it takes to be successful at all of these things. And it's come with a lot of trial and error and a couple time management strategies along the way that I've not perfected, but really have owned and made it work for me. So hopefully throughout this episode, you'll have a takeaway on how to avoid burnout and maybe you'll have some time management tips from me that are helpful for you. I did want to kind of start out the podcast talking about hustle culture, and how society kind of paints this picture of the people who are grinding and working hard and, the people who are shedding blood, sweat, and tears are the ones who are going to come out on top and the ones that are going to make it. True, but also it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to have the blood, sweat, and tears if your perspective is different. I didn't know what I wanted to say there for a second, but you'll understand what I mean in just a second. Anyway, so basically we're going to talk about a real life example of this. So at the beginning of my pharmacy school career, a lot of our entire cohort was basically told, like, we are not allowed to work because it's just impossible to work and be a full-time graduate student. And I know that everybody in our entire class looked at each other sideways like, how the heck are we supposed to make a living if we're not working? Because, gas and eggs these days are definitely expensive. We in a recession. So clearly I don't know how to talk today, but that's okay. I'm here to tell you that you can work while in graduate school if you make it work for you. You just have to have the discipline and learn how your individual brain and body works efficiently for you to get to do it all. I don't know if any of this first half of the podcast makes sense. I had an exam today, you guys, so please forgive me if none of the words that are coming out of my mouth are English. But basically what I was trying to say is hustling and grinding through something that you don't want to do can really create this sort of hatred toward whatever you're trying to get done. And once you've conditioned to hate this thing so much, you're not going to want to do it anymore. And that leads to faster burnout and giving up and basically, being wishy-washy on things that you want to do. And it's important here to know that you don't have to be the hero and that there is a healthy way that you can become successful and do all the things. Also, my camera battery is flashing at me even though I just charged it before recording this. So hopefully it'll make it. But I have a few notes that I jotted down in no particular order. So we're just going to kind of tackle it. The first thing I have in my notes is figure out how you learn the best, whether that's visual, auditory, kinesthetic, meaning hands-on, or if you're one of those people who learn the best reading and writing. Because this point is important, because being inefficient at studying or doing whatever task that you need to get done, being inefficient at that is not conducive to your progression or success, whether it's learning a new skill or a new subject or a new anything. Yeah. The second thing that I have written down here is wake up earlier. Now, I am definitely not a morning bird or a night owl. I enjoy sleeping at all times of the day. But me being 25 now, I can look back and say that in high school and undergrad, I was able to go to school, go to work, have soccer practice for school and the travel team multiple times a day, while also staying up all night studying without even blinking for sleep. Now, could I do that now? No. A sis cannot hang. But in all seriousness, I used to think that I could get more stuff done late at night after all of my daily duties were taken care of. But with the non-existent sleep pattern that I was having, I noticed more stress, anxiety. I was in the depressive funk all the time because I just wasn't giving my body any time to rest. And I also noticed myself feeling under the weather all the time. I was ill and sick, and it was hard for me also to get better. Hello, you're stressing your body out. And it trickles into other parts of your life where you start to become lazy and unmotivated, and you just want to take another nap. So, to avoid all of that, set your alarm for the morning time, maybe an hour before you normally get up. And if you normally get up at like 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, make that at least 8 o'clock. I'm telling you, you can get so much stuff done if you wake up earlier. Back to the example I was talking about. I would sleep until 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock on days that I wouldn't work at the pharmacy, and then I would feel super stressed out because I didn't do any studying, I didn't do any of the weekly assignments that were due before class, and I was just struggling to get things done before the sun went down. And this past year, I committed to the 5:30, 6 a.m. club with a friend, and having her do it with me was a lot easier than doing it by myself, for sure. Just like going to the gym. If you find yourself struggling to go to the gym, find somebody who wants to go to the gym with you. That way it's easier for the both of you to stay motivated, consistent, and on task. But basically, we were able to wake up on our own without feeling rushed. We were able to have our cup of coffee, enjoy it, and then we worked for a solid couple of hours without like any distractions or getting sidetracked or anything. And it was all done before 8 a.m. And I was just amazed at the amount of like people we were reaching out to, messaging, content creating, just planning our day all before 8 o'clock. And I was like, hello, we still have the rest of the day. Like, there's so much other stuff that I can get done now. And yeah, the first like 7 days of us waking up early was hard. But after that, it, becomes second nature. So start getting in the habit of waking up early, and I promise you, you are going to feel better about yourself, and it will keep you away from burning out. Also, speaking of, how we learn the best and whatnot, I read this article before the podcast, not today, but a couple days ago, and basically it said our brain is best declarative in the morning, and it is. I definitely did not read my note right, so we're gonna restart that sentence. It's fine. So our brain is best at declarative memory in the morning, and in the afternoon our brain is better at non-declarative memory tasks. And what that means is that declarative memory is just the recollection of facts and experiences from the past, such as a life event, who was at dinner last night, general information about the world. Whereas non-declarative memory is something that is recalled without consciously thinking about it, such as riding a bike or driving a car, how to write with your pencil without actually physically thinking about moving your arm to write with the pencil. So if you are somebody that is a student who has to study super long hours, or again, if you're multifaceted and have a lot of things to do on your plate, I think it's best to use this knowledge to your advantage. Basically, start your days by listening to new lectures in the morning. Then toward the afternoon, review what you learned and integrate it with information you learned previously or stuff that you already know off the top of your head. So it becomes habit to unconsciously recall that information. And I started studying differently this past year and this spring semester, and I'm finding it way more efficient learning new subjects. Now, as far as work goes, you can, start your day with a task or project that you're uncomfortable with or unsure about, and then problem solve until you've found that workaround, because your brain is going to be the best at problem solving in the morning. And, once you've reached the afternoon, you'll be able to fit it into other aspects of your life, and it'll feel more natural, and you will stop second guessing yourself. And disclaimer, I am not a brain expert, as you can tell, because I can't speak English today, or read. But this is my personal advice, and it's worked for me, so hopefully I pass this info on to you, and you'll, have a better time avoiding burnout. Now, the next thing I have here on how to avoid burnout is remembering to take breaks. That's super important. I am a desk girly who sits here for hours without moving, eating, going to the bathroom. I stay crisscrossed while my dog is cute and asleep on my lap, and I don't unbend my legs because I don't want to disturb her. So, we're losing feeling in the lower regions, but it's fine. And I sit here like that until I have finished the task or the assignment or whatever, vlog I'm editing, until I'm done. And basically, I have to get it done, or else I'm not going to feel good about myself, and I'll feel shitty the rest of the week. That's just me. Well, first, a piece of advice: don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Condition your body on taking breaks. When you first readjust your habits of sitting in your chair for 10 hours straight to taking frequent breaks, it's going to feel weird. You're going to feel like you're distracted and procrastinating and not getting anything done. But breaks, you know what? Today is just something else. But anyway, breaks are super essential when it comes to focus. So different studies prove that your brain's focus deteriorates over time. So if you're noticing that you've read the same sentence over and over and can't get past the paragraph, it's time for a break. And that doesn't mean within first 5 minutes of committing to reading, you've read the first sentence and you don't understand it and you don't understand, I'm gonna go take a break now. No, that's not what it means. Commit to your task, set a timer, maybe set it for an hour and 30 minutes, whatever you feel like is a good time frame for you to get said task done. Then once that timer goes off, hopefully you accomplished something, set a timer for 15 minutes. That way you can take a break for 15 minutes, whether it's, taking a 15-minute nap or scrolling on your phone for 15 minutes, taking your dog for a walk, just stepping away from whatever you're doing. That way, I had to move you a little bit. That way, you feel you're leaving the task feeling accomplished and not upset that you didn't get anything done. And if you know that you've been on your laptop since 6:30, it's okay to put away your phone and your computer and just, like I said, take a step away from whatever it is you're doing so that your brain can reset its focus. The next piece that I had here, reward yourself and give yourself some grace. I am in give yourself some grace, period, for myself. And I am very hard on myself. We are always our biggest critic. We're always, setting goals for ourselves, and whenever those things don't go the way that we want, we beat ourselves up over it. But we can't worry about things that you can't control, which you hear me talk about in my the previous podcast episode, you can't control everything, but you can control the time that you wake up in the morning. You can control the decisions that you make, whether it's choosing to study, make the content, or take a nap. Ultimately, by now, you should know that your success stems from your own work ethic. So this is where you kind of separate working hard and grinding through something you don't want to do, or, whether you're able to accomplish what you needed in a time frame that you set yourself. You deserve to reward yourself. So pat yourself on the back sometimes. It's okay to rest. It's needed so your brain can reset and refocus, and you can get more stuff done. But also, you're not going to burn your brain out. You're not going to fry your brain cramming all of these tasks and information into it in a short amount of time. Now, when I say reward yourself, I don't mean reward yourself with a break and then go back to grinding. I mean, reward yourself with some you time, like a bath, or spending some time in the natures, or I don't know, maybe you like getting facials or your nails done. Like, use that time to reward yourself for getting all your assignments done, taking an exam today, me. And another thing that I learned in pharmacy school, doing repetitive things over and over and over can diminish the dopamine rush in your brain, making it less exciting to accomplish anything. So with that, find different ways that your brain can get the jump start it needs to continue to grow and stay motivated without it burning out. Now, we did talk about hustle culture in the beginning. And I have found it that with this last piece of advice I'm going to give you, I really had to hone in on this one. Know the difference between consistency and grinding and hustling. Now, I keep repeating these words of like hustle and grind because I just think during the pandemic, people losing their jobs left and right, having to create their own jobs, have really started the whole hustle culture to begin with. More small businesses and new opportunities started to emerge, and I wanted to take a moment to say, like, yes, sometimes you might be in a position where we're starting from nothing and you have to work the graveyard shift or have a couple cries in the bathroom on your break, but this is where the mental conditioning comes in. And I found myself consuming the opinions of not others, but of myself. Why don't I look like her? Why am I still in school? How are they able to do this, but I'm stuck doing this? It's important to know what your goal was in the first place, before you started the grinding and the hustling and all the things. Now, reflecting on the progress that you've made since you started achieving said goal, if you reached that goal, how did you reward yourself, and did it leave you feeling fulfilled? And it's always easy to look at the end result and how far away it is, but I think we also forget how far we've already come. Like, 8-year-old me would probably look at myself and be like, wow, you're doing it, girl. Now, hopefully, 40-year-old me can look back and say, wow, I accomplished things. But 25-year-old me now, I'm not in the place where I want to be. So I'm going to keep consistently working until I get there. Towards the middle of last year, I really got hooked on like personal development podcasts and self-growth and just picking the lemons off my success tree and making lemonade. So something that's really helped me is I started a notebook of different points that I found valuable and different takeaways that I would write down while listening to these podcasts. And I've made it a point every morning to read previous bullet points before and after writing my new bullet points. And as corny as it sounds, I was able to really rewire my brain out of this depressive, stressful funk into a more calmer, managing boss lady who owns her craft. So basically, the perspective, this is where we circle back to the gibberish I was talking about earlier. So the perspective that you choose to have, whether it's a glass half empty or a glass half full, can really be the difference in what your progress looks like. And consistently working in a healthy manner is way better than slaving away endlessly with no emotional, financial, physical return. Am I right? So hopefully my 5 points, which I will repeat just in case it kind of got lost in translation. So, my 5 steps to avoiding burnout are figuring out how you learn the best, waking up earlier, remembering to take breaks, rewarding yourself and giving yourself some grace, and lastly, knowing the difference between consistency and grinding and hustling. So hopefully what I said was valuable enough for you to get to this part of the podcast. Thank you for tuning in with me. If you enjoyed this episode of the podcast and found it to be helpful, I'd love it if you would be, so gracious enough to share it with your friends or family or whoever you might think would benefit from this episode. Don't forget to hit the follow or subscribe button depending on the platform you're listening on, and you'll be able to catch new episodes every Monday. I'll see you next week. Sincerely, Sabrina. Ooh, should I start signing off like that? Probably. Okay, we'll see how it goes in the next episode. Okay, bye.